Good evening, everyone. Mr. Tim and Dr. Tolio, thank you for joining us today. For your information, this workshop will be recorded, uh, and I'll start the introduction right now. Okay?
Okay.
So, good evening, everyone. On behalf of the Middle Technical University, I warmly welcome you to our online workshop titled Importance of the Quality Assurance Agency for Higher Education. This event is held under the support of Professor Dr. Waddah Amr, the President of the Middle Technical University, and the support of Professor Dr. Sadiq Kamil Ghargan, the Dean of the College of the Artificial Intelligence Engineering Technology. The workshop is organized by the Department of Artificial Intelligence Techniques Engineering in collaboration with the Center of Continuing Education. We are truly honored to have with us Mr. Tim, the Director of Activities and International Cooperation at the QAA, and Dr. Tolio, the QAA Global Quality Assurance Consultant. I am Dr. Luay Faisal Abdulrazak, the workshop director, and I wish you all productive and inspiring session. Thank you for joining us today. So, Mr. Tim, if you'd like to start, or Dr. Tolio, thank you so much.
Many thanks, Loy. I'm trying to share. Hopefully that's been successful. Can you see?
Yeah.
I can see my colleague Tulio nodding. Okay, thank you very much for this opportunity to talk to you today, and thank you to the senior leadership team and Loay at Middle Technical University in Baghdad. This is always a real pleasure. I think workshop might be too lofty a title for this activity. I think perhaps information session or something similar would be more appropriate, but that's okay. We can absolutely call it a workshop, and I do hope that you learn lots of helpful information today from myself and my colleague. My name is, thank you for the introduction, but I'll perhaps fill in some gaps as well. My name is Tim Carnley, and I work in a team at QAA that is responsible for widening and expanding our work outside of the UK. The QAA is a British quality assurance agency, but we do a lot of work internationally as well, and that can take many forms, many different types of project and work, and we'll share more information about that shortly. So me and my colleagues are involved in extending our reach around the world. Tulio, do you want a minute or two just to explain what you do?
Yes, thank you very much, Tim, and thank you very much to all the people who convened today. It is a pleasure to have the opportunity to talk to you. My name is Tullio Lovetti. I am the Global Quality Assurance Consultant. Basically, my job consists in relating with the potential partners, potential clients, and advising institutions and devising the best solutions for them. So it's a quite varied engagement. Over the years, I worked across areas like program accreditation, institutional accreditation, capacity building, services for regulators, public authorities, the creation of quality assurance frameworks, sometimes at the national level, and many others. Again, a pleasure to be with you this afternoon.
Excellent, thank you. So I'll get started, and thank you to our audience for taking time in the evening, your time. It's still only 3 p.m. in the UK, so you are working much harder than we are, I think. So you'll see on the slide here just a few points, introductory points about QAA. And Loay provided this, but once again, I'll just give you the full name. We are the Quality Assurance Agency for Higher Education, often abbreviated to QAA, as you'll see in our logo. I will open today with some information about our mission and the context, the higher education context in which QAA works and in which we all work, the challenges, the forces that we face on a daily basis. And then Tullio will share some information about the process of seeking and achieving accreditation with QAA, so that you'll go away today with an idea of who we are, what we do, and how we might be able to provide solutions to some of the challenges that you face. So the QAA was set up in 1997, you'll see on the slide. In the early to mid 90s in the UK, there was an expansion of the higher education sector. Quite a lot of colleges became universities around 1992 and onwards. So this was an expanded, quite rapidly expanded higher education sector. And part of the reason QAA was set up was to set the standards and monitor the quality in this newly expanded higher education space. So we've been known as the UK's apex body for higher education quality assurance since that time. In fact, it says higher education, but in some parts of the UK, we are involved not just in higher education, but all tertiary education. So any education beyond high school level. So it could be college, further education, vocational, as well as universities. Okay, we're known as experts in quality assurance, but also in enhancement, quality enhancement. We design quality review methods and deliver them across the UK and outside the UK. And many of them are now focused perhaps more on enhancing quality beyond the baselines. We work with universities and sectors that are on maybe different positions along the spectrum of quality assurance development, and some of them are keen to enhance and improve and embed a culture of continuous improvement. So we support them in doing that. I've also added 2 points here: independence and transparency. I think it's helpful to know the kind of organization that QAA is, just in case we find ourselves working together in the future. So for today, I want you to go away with kind of 2 ideas: independence and transparency. Within independence, QAA is independent of government. We're not part of the government in the UK. We're actually a charity. We're independent of government and politically neutral. We advise the government, that is to say, the higher education regulators in the nations of the UK, but the methods we use are, they provide independent evaluations and independent judgments. We're also independent of the universities, independent of the providers in the UK. Now, for example, and internationally as well. For example, our accreditation teams, when we carry out a review, will be led by a QAA officer, a project manager, basically, but then reviewers with experience of UK quality, with experience of international quality assurance, but that have no connection to the provider or the university that is seeking accreditation. So we have a distance between us and government and a distance between us and the providers as well. We work closely with both, but we maintain independence. Transparency is also important to QAA. We publish all of our review methods, our guidance handbooks, our criteria, and indeed our reports, mainly on our website, but they are also available in other places as well. Okay, we were asked to go into a little bit of detail about QAA's mission, and I'll provide some detail, but these are quite high-level introductory points. So as a quality assurance agency, we have a strategy. That strategy currently will take us through to 2030. And these are the 4 focus areas within the strategy. If you want to read more widely, it's available on the QAA website, qaa.ac.uk. So the first box on the left-hand side, standards. So QAA works with universities, with colleges, with other higher education providers, and with those government regulators I mentioned, to set standards and make clear the expectations for quality assurance in the UK. That's obviously our base. And to help us do that, we are the custodian. So we're responsible for the production and the content of sector reference points, but we don't own them. They're jointly owned with the universities in the sector in the UK. There are 2 key reference points that we help to produce, that we are the custodians of. The first one is the UK Quality Code. This is a document that is a kind of constitution for quality assurance in the UK. It lets universities know what is expected of them, what they can expect from other institutions, and what students and their families can expect from a university experience in the UK. We also are the custodians of the UK subject benchmark statements. They are similar, they serve a similar purpose, but they are focused on subject areas, disciplines, more at program level. So the subject benchmark statements lay out what knowledge, skills, experience, and outcomes a student can expect when they go through a particular program in the UK. Assurance and enhancement, as I mentioned, so we design review methods suitable for the sector or the context to essentially maintain quality standards. We have an international section of our strategy, and I will share on the next slide what that looks like. And then we also hope to be thought leaders in the quality assurance space as well. So we are regular speakers at conferences and events. We work closely with the UK government in particular, the devolved governments across the UK on policy related to higher education and higher education quality assurance. I mentioned the international element of our strategy, and it's made up of these core areas of work. So services for regulators, what does that mean? So QAA works with governments, government departments, independent, sometimes quality assurance authorities that, again, may have different objectives. They may be in different stages of development. So they might want assistance with their own quality code. They might want training or capacity building. They may need support with writing their accreditation guidelines for universities in their country. So QAA provides that kind of support at a kind of consultancy level with a range of partners across the world. Accreditation, global accreditation. We are an accreditation agency, particularly outside the UK. We offer it at university level and at program level. My colleague Tullio will go into a little more detail of what that means. It's a 5-year accreditation award from QAA. Advice and strategic support is related to the one at the top, but we can also provide that to universities as well that are setting their own or improving and enhancing their own quality frameworks. We offer a range of training opportunities in quality assurance, some of them online, some of them in person, particularly in the UK. Each summer, we offer a professional development program, 1 week, usually in June. So you can see that detail on our website. And we're also a membership organization. We have around 300 members. They are universities and colleges, higher education providers that are committed to building and embedding a culture of quality. And as members, we provide professional development, access to our conferences, events, and an online database of lots of resources to help them with quality assurance. I wanted to give you some information about the space in which QAA operates globally at the moment. And these are challenges and risks and forces that we all deal with as university staff on a daily basis. But it's important, I think, to understand what QAA does and the value of QAA services that you may be interested in, to understand more about why we do what we do. So these are, through our experience and working closely with universities both in the UK and around the world, these are some of the themes, the challenges that emerge when we talk to universities about future-proofing, about achieving strategic objectives, about the challenges that they face. Transformation and innovation, particularly the impact of AI on academic integrity, on ethics, on assessment, always comes up. The importance of international collaboration, that could be transnational education, it could be partnerships, joint delivery, research, always comes up. And it's a highly rated priority for many institutions we work with. And then also meeting the expectations of our students, learners, ensuring they have a quality learner experience. And these expectations are evolving constantly as well. So these are some of the reasons why, the challenges faced by universities, the reasons why they might engage, or you might engage, the support services of QAA. I'll start with transformation and innovation. It's obviously moving at great pace now, and our hosts today working in the AI space will know of its impact on the higher education landscape. Just for example, if we think about how institutions can keep up with the pace of transformation and innovation, just in the basic example of program development, it's very important to ensure that programs remain relevant, that they might be reimagined, redeveloped to make sure that they're appealing to students, that they are producing students with the ability to go into the workplace with the right skills. It can take a year and a half, 18 months to develop a new academic program. It can cost a lot of money. $500,000 US dollars is what came out of our studies as an average. It can take upwards of 2 years to launch the program, so promotion, recruitment, approvals. And even with all of that effort, a lot of programs often fail, unfortunately. So it's quite a challenge to maintain that kind of pace for an institution. If we look at the imperative for internationalization and global relationships, towards the bottom, these are the risks that are raised, again, when we work and we talk to, we seek feedback from institutions with whom we work. It's very difficult. If you have an active internationalization strategy, you want to work with universities around the world, it's difficult to find partners with the right strategy and shared vision. Carrying out due diligence of partners is very challenging. Understanding the regulatory framework of partner institutions is a challenge. And if you don't get this right, it can lead to increased workload for academic and administrative staff. Across the top are some of the quite dramatic but entirely possible consequences of not getting it right in terms of your internationalization strategy. We also have evolving student expectations. Universities need to remain relevant. They need to produce future-ready, world-ready graduates. This is just an example of the importance of quality management and student satisfaction or student expectations of their learner experience from England. So in England, the the England Higher Education Regulator has a system known as the Teaching Excellence Framework, which is a means of measuring an assessment of quality. It looks at the teaching and learning environment in a university and also student outcomes. So we did some analysis on this, and within the scheme, you can be rated gold, silver, or bronze, and found that gold-rated higher education providers, gold-rated universities, are around 6 times more in terms of average net income compared to those rated bronze. So an internal culture of quality, student outcomes, and a strong positive student experience does have a direct correlation to the financial health of the institution. Bronze-rated higher education providers were nearly twice as likely to be operating at a loss compared to those rated gold. You can find more information about the Teaching Excellence Framework online if you want to look into that in a little bit more detail. So it's a lot to manage for senior leaders who have to reinvent and address what the modern university should look like nowadays. It's very challenging to balance technological transformation, deliver a positive student learning experience, enhance quality assurance policies, and balance that with risk, with resources, with cost. So QAA, part of QAA's mission is to help institutions nurture and embed a culture of quality assurance and quality enhancement to keep on improving and stay ahead of these challenges. And we ask universities that we work with to consider how strong their internal quality culture is. How do we do that? We can consider with them jointly a series of questions. Get them thinking about how strong internally the quality culture is. QAA is, we would like to think, a critical friend, works in support with our university clients. And these are some of the questions that we would ask them to address, or we would address jointly to work out how we might be able to support the quality culture. Okay, so just a few examples. Is quality embedded in all parts of your operations? Is everybody involved? Is it a reactive process, or is it driving improvement? Do you think of quality reviews as an opportunity to be embraced, or are they a burden, basically? What's your attitude to quality? It's a helpful exercise to determine your current position and what you might need to do. Okay, I'm just going to jump forward. So I mentioned that QAA is the custodian of the UK Quality Code. We're also the custodian of the subject benchmark statements. We're members of the Quality Council for UK Higher Education, and we do a lot of work in the monitoring, let's say, evaluation and enhancement of UK transnational education delivered in the world. So those are UK programs delivered outside of the UK. We've done this for many years. As I said, we've devised 20 review methods to use in the UK and around the world, and have delivered over 1,700 reports since 2014. So a lot of experience of carrying out quality reviews. We're a full and founding member of the European Association for Quality Assurance in Higher Education. It's commonly known as ENQA. We work very closely with them. In addition, we work with governments with quality assurance authorities all over the world through a series of memoranda of understanding and partnerships. And this can take many forms, as I said. It could be exchange of best practice and expertise and insight. We invite our counterparts from around the world to attend our conferences and events. We might provide training, capacity building, and jointly work on papers related to quality assurance. Now, I mentioned membership briefly at the beginning of the session here. I just want to draw attention to it again. So QAA, in addition to our quality reviews, is a membership organization, a club for universities and colleges to join to get access to resources, events, conferences, some funding opportunities as well, and work towards embedding and developing a culture of quality across the institution. So all of this information is on our website as well. It's a good way to start your relationship with QAA, and it runs on an annual basis. So a couple of examples I wanted to share about how we have provided support to institutions facing those challenges I talked about through delivering accreditation. So an institution in Doha used the outcomes of its accreditation process for strategic planning, decision-making. They took a long time to plan for their review, set up new departments within the university to manage quality assurance. So it's a real success story. Similar in Kuwait as well, Gulf University of Science and Technology, so not too far from you. This university used it to strengthen internal processes and elevate their international standing. So it's very helpful for boosting international profile as well. Okay. I think I can hand over now. Thank you for listening, everyone. I'll hand over now to Tullio to talk a little bit more about QAA's accreditation process.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tim. Thank you. Welcome, Dr. Tullio.
And thank you very much, Tim, and thank you very much for listening this far. Yes, now I will take over. I would like to talk to you a little bit about our international quality review process. First of all, because it is one of the most effective things that an institution can do to enter the international scene and be legitimized in the number to the eyes of a number of international partners. I would like to say possibly all potential international partners. So I would like to explain to you how it works so that you get an idea of the rigorousness of the process, its outcomes, but also how the process itself is something good for institutions in terms of development, capacity building, and the creation of a culture of quality, which is what we usually aim at. If I can have this next slide, please. So what is the International Quality Review? It's first of all an independent peer review. We use this system of a peer review and peer consultation across a number of our activities. If you decide to go for an IQR, as we call it, International Quality Review, you will not be reviewed by QAA. You will be reviewed by a team of reviewers composed by experts in quality assurance, many of which also have substantial academic backgrounds. These are all, in most cases, senior practitioners in their respective field with vast expertise in quality assurance and international expertise. You will be reviewed by these people, so peers, likely professors at universities as you are. As many of you are, I imagine. Also accompanied by a student. All our review method involves student. First of all, because it is a good thing. Second, because it is mandated by our European framework of reference, about which I will tell you more in a moment. So the quality assurance, this review is much against international standards. In particular, the international standard that we use is a regional standard known as the ESG. I suppose many of you already know about it, the European Standards and Guidelines for Higher Education. There are others in the world. There is the ASEAN framework, which is mostly for East and Southeast Asia. There are the African Standards and Guidelines for Quality Assurance, so-called ASG, ASGQA. There is also the Arab Network for Quality Assurance in Education, ANQHE. So again, probably you have heard about many of these. All these regional frameworks are in some ways compatible with each other. So if you get accredited, you will be recognized by others as well. And in particular, our accreditation and our badge of excellence is very, very recognizable all over the world. So when someone looks at your institution and sees that you are internationally accredited by us, they will know what it means. They will know that you have been tested against recognized international good practice. And again, it is indeed an opportunity for international accreditation, but more than that. If we can have the next slide, please. No, there is a slide in between. Huh? There is a slide that says how it will drive excellence.
I think I may have jumped ahead to Leo.
No problem. No worries.
Just looking at.
Yeah. No worries. No, it's going ahead.
That one?
Yeah, that one. So yes, this is the other point I wanted to make. This is not just a process that allows you to achieve a certain kind of accreditation, but is a process that is also designed to improve your institutions. No matter how good you are, we always believe there is room for enhancement, as my colleague has said before. This continuous enhancement attitude is indeed the attitude for quality assurance that we try to promote. So there are benefits in undergoing the process itself, because we will guide you to challenge and verify your existing processes to reflect on how well you're doing. It enables the identification of improvements. We will help you understanding where things can be improved. Again, no matter how good your university is, you will likely receive recommendation for improvement. And this is a very good outcome of the review on top of the accreditation itself, if you are, of course, successful. So it is really a moment for an institution to sit down, have a good look at themselves with the help of a team of experts, which will act, as we like to say, as critical friends regarding the way you deliver your provisions. I like this definition, critical friends. We are not there to fail you. This is not an exam. It's a process of peer review, which is first and foremost aimed at enabling you to improve, to understand yourself better and where you stand in a comparison with these internationally accepted standards, and to improve further. And this is what we do everywhere. And this approach has always been very welcome. I mentioned before the standards that we employ, the ASG, European Standards and Guidelines. If I can have the next slide, please. Again, I'm sure you are familiar with, many of you at least are familiar with this. The standards are very broad. As it often happens in quality standard framework, each standard is expressed as a set of very broad expectations. If I have to, for instance, think about 1.2 design and approval of programs, the standard says things like institutions should have processes for the design and approval of their programs. First thing. So what we will do, we will check that you have in these processes and that these processes are implemented. So the programs should be designed so that they meet the objectives set for them including intended learning outcomes. And this is another thing that we will verify in the course of the review. How do you make sure that you design your programs so that they meet their objectives, and so on and so forth? If you have a look at the full text of the ESG, it's not very long. You can Google it, it will come up immediately. You can start looking at the standard and asking yourself questions. For instance, here, continuing on the standard, the qualification resulting from a program should be clearly specified and communicated. And you may ask yourself, how do we do that? How we clearly specify and communicate the qualification? How do we call our qualifications? Are they clear? Is there a rationale behind it? And so on and so forth. Asking yourself this question, you're already doing the first level of the review, and it will come handy also when and if you will like to engage with this process. Let's have a look at this process now. If I can have the slide, thank you. So this process has 5 stages. We do it like this. You can see it is 10-12 months. And we split it across this time because it takes a bit of time for you to prepare, communicate with us, but also for us, and for the team to do a good in-depth review of what you submit for review. The application is very simple. A set of very straightforward eligibility criteria will be checked. Then there is a scoping stage. To verify that the university is ready to undergo the full review. We have introduced this phase because the full review is a demanding process, also in economic terms. It has a cost. So before you are allowed to move on, we do this mini review to make sure that there is no glaring holes, there is no glaring gaps in the way you manage your provisions and in your quality assurance structures. Then we do the proper review. And this is what takes the most time. 6 months, it can easily go to 8 months, 9 months. It depends. We try to organize the schedule that is best for you. And this is the in-depth review against each one of the ESG standards that I showed you before. After the review, there is a phase in which we finalize the accreditation, a bit of paperwork, and you will receive, if you are successful, an accreditation badge. If you are not successful, well, okay, this is disappointing, but you will receive a very detailed report detailing all the areas in which you may need to improve. Now, the overall accreditation lasts for 5 years. All these kind of accreditations are cyclical. They don't last forever. And once you have achieved it, you will have to do it again in the next cycle. The cycle is 5 years in this case. And midway through, there is a mid-cycle review. Again, another mini review where we just verify that the institution that you are keeping on track. If there was an action plan resulting from the review phase, we will verify the progress against the action plan, just to make sure that things are still okay and that you can hold your accreditation for the full 5 years. Once the 5 years are expired, you will have to do the process again, however, starting from the review. You will not need to do the earlier phases because that has already been verified before, and every 5 years in order to maintain the accreditation. This is typical, and all these processes, whoever runs them, are always cyclical. And again, 5 years is the usual time frame. So if we want now to go a little bit in detail about all these phases. Next slide, please. So application. The application is a form. Is very simple. We just assess this very few essential criteria. For instance, you have to be operational for a minimum of 3 years, a minimum of 3 cohorts of students, and one at least should have graduated. The reason is because if you don't have this, we have nothing to review. That becomes a problem. And so I'm sure you understand why there is this initial check. This doesn't take long. In 4 weeks' time, you will have an answer once you submit your application. Next slide, please. The scoping is a little bit more intense, but it's good preparation for the full review. In fact, the scoping is again, it works like the full review. Yeah, and it's a good way to start preparing yourself for the full review. We will have, there is a meeting before the scoping visit, as we will do for the full review. You will be asked to prepare and submit documentation. The documentation normally consists in a self-evaluation document, a gap analysis, a scoping document, as we call it, in which you highlight how you satisfy the criteria of the scoping. Is your first opportunity to start reflecting on yourself, and this should be accompanied by suitable evidence. Wherever in your self-evaluation you make an affirmation saying we have a well-developed student service department that takes care of all students regardless of their program of study, which is good. Well, we want to see evidence that this is the case. So, for instance, the policy that governs student support, the staff that is employed, evidence of meetings, evidence of feedback with students, and so on and so forth. Imagine a bit like you're writing an academic paper, and every time you say something, you have to substantiate it with appropriate evidence. Then we do a mini visit. 2 people, 2 quality experts, will meet with staff, students, a little meeting just to verify that what has been said in your self-evaluation is understood. We will do a normally virtual observation of facilities. Normally with a camera, you can guide us around and give us an idea of how your university looks like. We will write a short report, and the final report will say whether you can proceed to the review stage, or if you need some substantial improvement before you can proceed. What are we looking at in the scoping? If I can have the next slide, yes. We're looking at the very important, the very foundational aspect of your delivery framework. Governance, what is the structure of governance, academic and what we call corporate governance of your institution, which kind of external point of reference you use, which kind of internal monitoring systems, approaches you have, the staffing, if you hold any external accreditation, and any other information. There is a clear template for this that will help you in this reflection. Now, let's say that we were satisfied with the scoping. We think, okay, this university is in good shape. It can undergo the review phase. We move on to the review. As you can see, it's similar to the scoping. And as I was telling you, the scoping in many ways prepares you for this. Before the review visit, there will be a bit of a planning. There will be a submission of a more detailed self-evaluation document, normally a reasonably detailed 20 pages or so document of self-evaluation about who you are, how you enforce and maintain the standards of the ESG, and with a lot of evidence accompanying it. Evidence can easily go into the 100, 150, 200 pieces. So, pretty in-depth review. Our team, this time it will be the full team. So a team normally of 3 people plus the QAA officer will review all this as a desk-based analysis. We'll review all the evidence and start preparing for the visit. The visit is normally in person, although we are able to arrange to make different arrangements if necessary. We prefer in person, but there is a possibility for different arrangements. We have done it during COVID, for instance. So we will meet, and it will take some days, normally 3 days. We will meet all the key staff, students. We will certainly meet senior management, but also external stakeholders like employers, alumni, and so on and so forth. And while we are there and we meet these people, we may ask for more evidence, and we continue to analyze this evidence. Why all this work? Well, it's just because we want to be absolutely sure that you are in fact achieving the standards that are supposed to be achieved. Now we do a very good in-depth examination. At the end of the day, we are giving the accreditation at the end of the process. So it will take a bit of effort on all parts. Is also very demanding on our part, but eventually we will have a complete picture of how your institution is doing, and on this basis we can pronounce a final judgment. The final result of this process will be a report, a review report that will be drafted by the review team as a team. No, it's not one person writing the report. The whole team writes it together. So in order to ensure objectivity, to minimize biases, and again to maintain the peer exercise spirit of the enterprise. So it will be written by all, agreed by all. All decisions on each specific standard are agreed by the whole team. And then we make a decision whether the institution is accredited or not. And we wish you the very best of luck in this sense. There are a few steps, a few technical steps. We will send you a preliminary report. You will have a chance to comment on it. Once we receive your comments, we will finalize and publish the final reports. The outcome are indeed this that you can see on the slide. Your institution meets all the standards. Your institution meets the standard, but we are giving you some conditions. Normally, what happens is, okay, yes, you meet the standards, but in order to have the accreditation, you need to satisfy this condition. Normally, we tell you by when, and there is also a time framework there. And this, once we have verified this, the process is concluded. This can happen, or it doesn't meet the standards. We sincerely hope this will not be the case. So if I can have the next slide, yeah. So the benefit for your institution, what does it mean in terms of benefit? You are officially accredited by QAA. You can use the QAA IQR accreditation badge on your website and marketing materials. If you look around, you will see how this is a pretty nice badge that indeed says that you have achieved international accreditation. Why this is important? Well, as I told you at the beginning, anyone looking at the website of your institution and sees that badge will know what it is. And this includes students, includes international students, includes families, includes external stakeholders, includes potential partners, like, for instance, other university, if you're thinking about partnership. Now, this badge really means a lot. As you can see, it is a very thorough process. Everybody knows how thorough it is. If you passed it and you achieved this accreditation, it means that you really are upholding best international practice. As you can imagine, this goes a long way in terms of building trust with your potential students, with their families, with potential partners. This is something I always recommend, for instance, to institutions who wants to start considering T&E provisions delivered in collaboration with foreign institutions. This badge will put their mind at ease, and you will have a much smoother beginning with your potential partners. And indeed, you're accredited by using international recognized standards, which in turn will make you recognizable by those other frameworks that use compatible standard, like for instance the ASEAN framework. It is, I mean, you will have to work a bit on it, but it achieves really a lot. With this one accreditation process, you achieve a number of very useful things for your institution. Next slide, please. Here is the badge, so you can see how it looks. It's still the same badge, no, Tim, we didn't change it.
Correct. For now, it's this badge.
It's still this one. Yeah. It is nice, and you can see it will look. You can put it on your website. You can put it wherever is pertinent. Now, as I mentioned before, there will be a mid-cycle review. If I can have the next slide. The mid-cycle review is again normally 2.5 years before a successful review. Is normally a relatively quick desk-based study, and it's I think between 4 and 6 weeks if I remember correctly. It's not it's just to verify you are still on track to maintain the accreditation, as I told you before. Okay, next slide, please. I think this is something I already told you. Enhance your global positioning is important. Accreditation has, we have seen a sort of an indirect effect also on ranking, not a direct one. It's not, but indirectly, it might influence also some rankings, for instance, through student satisfaction, through trust, and that also is a positive. And the most important thing for me is indeed its potential to drive improvement and excellence in your institution. I used to be head of quality assurance before joining QAA. And when there were QAA reviews of my institution, you could really see the whole institution coming together. It was a very empowering for everybody, because everybody had something to contribute, and it was really a chance to know ourselves much better as an institution. And I learned to cherish, in fact, these reviews in time. I hope it will be the same for you. Okay, so you have an idea about what we do. It is a very brief presentation. You have an idea how we operate. You can see what are our principles. A peer-oriented approach, integrity. We operate according to transparent processes, international outlook. Everything we do is measured against internationally accepted good practice, and so on and so forth. Just for your information, we use the same approach and the same attitude also for other services. If I can have the next slide. One is our international program accreditation. Imagine everything I told you, apart from the scoping phase, applied instead than an institution, applied to a program. Instead of having an institution accredited, you can have a specific program accredited, and you will have a similar badge for the program. QAA accredited internationally according to ESG standard, etc., etc. It works similarly, similar rigor, similar transparency, and a nice team of international experts, which are also subject experts. So if we accredit the program in accountancy, in the team there will be 1 or 2 subject experts in accountancy. When we do international program accreditation, we use the ESG as a quality framework point of reference, but we also use our subject benchmark statements. You remember Tim mentioned it before. So again, standards at the subject level. to review also the subject level aspect of the program and not just the QA structure. This is also a very useful accreditation. It's particularly useful for your flagship programs, the programs that sort of represent the best of your offer. Having this accreditation makes them stand out in the international context. Those programs where you want to attract international students, because again, the accreditation will be immediately recognizable all over the world, and is again, as before, is a chance to have your program reviewed by a peer team, including important, experienced subject experts. And on the same account, we also offer bespoke services. This is what I do most of the time. It can be anything. Most of the time is training, consultancy, capacity building. We work, for instance, with agencies like our own in other countries in order to improve their methods, their approaches, to help them train their staff. Sometimes we work with regulators, with government bodies like ministries. I have personally worked, for instance, in writing a quality code for some countries who didn't have it and they wanted to develop it, and together we wrote it with them. We always use this co-creation approach. We don't impose our view on things. We try to create something together that fits perfectly the content. But in the same spirit, we offer also all these services. So I imagine most of you are from institutions. Some of these services may apply to you, particularly your QA offices, if they are in need of capacity building, if you want to have ideas about methods, approaches, if you want training. It applies also of those of you who may work in an agency or similar entities or government bodies in terms of policy, frameworks, and so on and so forth. So if you have any interest in this, if there is anything that you have been thinking about, please do get in touch. We will devise specific bespoke solutions for you. And this is all I wanted to tell you. I hope it was interesting enough. There is much more to say. I definitely hope you will get in touch so that we can have a more in-depth conversation about your specific needs. And I pass it back.
Thank you. Really, thank you. Appreciate that energetic and wonderful and very clear presentation, Dr. Tullio and Mr. Tim. We are really appreciate what you have presented right now. Since we are running out of time, so I will go to the next level, which is a question and answering session. So I'm asking the audience, ladies and gentlemen, as a matter of fact, today we have more than 6 universities join our presentation, join the workshop, or as you prefer to call it, seminar. So they send me some private questions. So in a case that no one would like to interrupt and raise his voice and ask a question, I'll go directly to the written question sent to me privately. So I will speak in Arabic. السادة السيدات الحضور، إذا كان أكو أي سؤال أو استفسار تودون بالمداخلة أو طرح السؤال لمنظمة الكواليتي Assurance Agency for Higher Education، هم مستعدين للجواب جميع أسئلتكم. تفضلوا مشكورين.
We're very.
So I'll go to the private. Until now, anyone have a question? Sorry, an interruption. No.
It was me. Sorry, Louay. It was Tim. Yeah, we can stay a little later. It's okay, and we can answer any questions. I've also left some contact details on the slide just in case they are helpful.
Thanks a lot. Yes, sure. That's very helpful. And of course, for the other universities or other colleagues, if you are interested, I can share with you many information about QAA. This is my second chance to get a presentation from this wonderful organization. So actually, there is a question about strategic rules. The question is for Dr. Tullio.
Yes.
The question says, how can the quality assurance agency experience in developing institutional review framework be adapted to strengthen Iraqi higher education quality assurance system? I have one note here, Doctor. In Iraq, the Ministry of Higher Education raising a flag called Study in Iraq. So I think we are not. I think I'm sure we are inviting researchers from abroad, as you know that postgraduate study could be very beneficial. It could be a national income as well. So how can quality assurance agency, from your experience, become very collaborative with Iraqi institutes?
Yeah. So if you look at the standards we use internationally, namely the ESG, you can see they are very broad. This is a we call it principle-based regulation. It's not a set of instruction. Do this, do this, do this. It's more a set of principles that tells you you should achieve this. You should aim towards this. In this sense, they are very adaptable. And in fact, we never experience any difficulties in adapting it to any context. This doesn't mean you have to adopt the ESG verbatim, word by word. In fact, we are not even saying that. What we have done very often, what I have done very often, is to take inspiration from the ESG and realize a framework for internal and external quality assurance that is compatible. And we realize that each reality, each country has their own peculiarities, and each region is not everywhere is Europe. But you can see these ESG principles are so general and so fundamental that I'm sure this is also what you want to achieve. We can reframe it, adapt it, and potentially also add something over it that makes it meaningful for your local context. We have experience across a number of contexts, across a number of regions, the Middle East, North Africa, Southeast Asia. We can and we can put this experience to service to make sure that we can support you in developing the framework and method, so the principles and way of applying those principles that best suit your context. So I personally do not anticipate difficulties in this sense, and we will always do it in a dialogue.
Thank you so much. And we have a question from Dr. Osama Abbas. Dr. Osama, can you introduce yourself? I think you are the Director of Quality Assurance at the Middle Technical University.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Loay. Thank you, Dr. Tolio. Thank you, Dr. Tim. Like, the lecture has been really wonderful. Just a correction. Dr. Haidar is the head for the quality assurance at the Middle Technical University. I'm serving as the head of the quality assurance department at the College of Electrical Engineering. So you're almost there, Doctor. Thank you. So to keep it short, here's the thing. Like, recently there has been a plethora, if you want to say, of like accreditation agencies. All of them, like, they are providing some really wonderful services. So as like the head of my department, which one should I pick and choose? I mean, all of them are great, if you ask me. But like right now, I think I have like seen maybe 5 up to this point, and all of them are like really competing with each other. Like, so I'm not really trying like to put you guys down, but I'm trying to get kind of like the gist of it, of like how to differentiate, or at least how to sell it to my administration, how to sell it to my boss, how to sell it to my colleagues. Please go ahead.
This is certainly an important practical point. I think Tim may have something to say about it, and I may also build on it.
I think if it's the college level, if you're just looking at electrical engineering, the College of Electrical Engineering, there's no question that there may be, I think, accreditation agencies that specialize in engineering that might be kind of more closely aligned to your department, and that's the area in which their expertise and their reviewers lie. So we would always, QAA can offer that program accreditation service for a range of engineering disciplines, and we would be very pleased to be considered. So I guess I'm open to the fact that there are other accreditation agencies that you might want to look at. I think one area in which I would look is the depth and the kind of the robust nature of the process. To what extent is the agency that you're looking at able to look at the detail of the program? What's their experience of working in this particular space? What's the makeup of the review team, the quality assurance, the review team that the accreditation panel that they would put forward? I would look at the resources and guidance, the support that they would give you as the process goes forward. There are a range of different factors, I think, that you can look at to help you make the decision. Hopefully you wouldn't just go on cost. You would look at reputation, depth of review, expertise in the field, and the genuine benefit for your institution and for your graduates as well. What's going to carry weight when they go searching for employment outcomes. So a range of different things that you can look at. If you would like a more detailed discussion about it with QAA, you can definitely write to us, Dr. Abbas, and using the email on the screen, and we can provide a bit more detail about what solutions we could offer.
Sure. Thank you. This has been really great. And another question, if you allow me to think out loud, here's the thing, we are in this session and in the other sessions, we are thinking loudly about the student and how to better his outcome, let's say the learning outcome, because we are moving from, let's say, from the traditional approach to an outcome-based approach. And hence we have the accreditation programs. So if you were in my place, I mean, what's the right pitch, if you want to say, to approach the student, telling him hey, I'm QAA accredited, or is this the right way to think about it? I'm trying to be hands-on, to be honest with you, about how to sell it to my students. I mean, how to use it as an attraction factor for me. On the academic level, I see it's great. The numbers are there. You guys are totally right on this area. But regarding my student who's uneducated about this part, how can I better him to make the let's say the better choice, if you want to make it this way? Please, the mic is yours.
Tullio, as somebody who's been in that position before, do you want to take?
Yeah, no, that's okay. The very simple answer would be that our method is student centered and outcome based. Indeed, if you look at the ESG, there is a specific mention of student-centered learning, teaching, and assessment. So the short argument would be that if you achieved accreditation, it's because you are doing it. That's the proof of it. Otherwise, you will not have achieved accreditation. So if you are successfully moving towards an outcome-based student-centered model, accreditation will certainly reflect that and will prove that. Students, students may not be fully aware of what this means. I mean, on the basis of our accreditation, you have proof to affirm what you're doing. So you could say, for instance, on the landing page of the landing web page of your institution, we the university has since 2015 moved towards a student-centered, outcome-based approach to learning and teaching in order to empower our students as future contributors to society and their respective field of expertise, etc., etc., etc. This has been confirmed by us achieving QAA international accreditation, which indeed relies on the ESG model, which is a student and outcome based. You can put a few links just in one page. This will be very, very convincing. I will imagine, for anyone who may have doubts in this sense. Does this answer your question?
Yeah, fantastic. Like you are spot on. Thank you, guys. You have been wonderful. Thank you very much.
Can I add something to Dr. Abbas's
question? Sure. Go ahead.
I think I get where you're coming from. Definitely. We could, if you want to have a discussion, we can definitely go into more detail. One thing, if you'll permit me, I think, well, there's a couple of things that I can raise perhaps to support QAA's position. The institutions that we accredit are often, it's often not a kind of decision between this accrediting agency or this accrediting agency. Sometimes it is, but we often accredit at faculty level, Dr. Abbas, or institution level. In addition to program level, we have different tiers of accreditation, and the methodology is quite similar. So it could be the case that if you have an electrical engineering program that you feel the best accreditation choice for me is the ABET, for instance, if you'll allow me to name drop an engineering accreditation agency, and that's totally fine. QAA has been doing this for quite some time, since 1997. It's the only body that's done this in the UK. And over that time, we've amassed quite a significant pool of experts in quality reviews. And that's twinned now with the bespoke consultancy, capacity building work that Tullio mentioned that QAA has been involved in. So I think that there's a certain depth and understanding of quality assurance for universities and faculties that QAA understands very well and has developed this understanding of almost to a unique level, I would say, in this kind of space of accrediting agencies. As you say, they are, many of them are wonderful. They're great at what they do. And sometimes the process is quite similar and the method is similar and the criteria might be similar. So it's quite hard for you to make that decision. What we could say, I think, is that historically, QAA has been in charge of quality assurance standards and maintenance and enhancement in the UK for almost 30 years now, has developed it and adapted it for international delivery as well. And it could be an important part of your kind of accreditation ecosystem, whether it's at program level or not.
Yeah, this makes lots of sense, to be honest with you. Thank you. Thank you, guys. You have been wonderful.
Thank you for the question.
Thank you very much. I don't think there are more questions. Let me just check the raising hands. No more raising hands. So, dear Mr. Tim, I will conclude now.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, thank you. So thank you all for your valuable participation and thoughtful contribution. It was really a fruitful session. Special thanks to Mr. Tim and Dr. Tullio for sharing their expertise with us. We hope today's workshop was informative and inspiring. Have a great evening, and we are looking forward to see you again in future events. So thank you so much, all of you. Thank you, and have a nice day. Bye-bye.